It's IPO week, baby. I'm wearing red because Reddit just went public. In this video, I'm going to break down how Reddit traded in its first week of being an IPO or publicly traded company. I'm also going to share with you some little known facts that you may not know about the company and the stock. And I'm also going to break down what happened in its first week of trading and then what happened when they released options. Things got interesting. Let's get into it. Hey, if you're new around here, I'm stock market coach and option trader Jason Brown, and I believe a trader alone is a trader at risk. So if you're not familiar with what happened with Reddit, don't worry, I got you. We're going to break it all down. So Reddit began trading under the ticker symbol RDDT. It actually went public Thursday, March 21st. It was like the first major IPO of 2024. Now, a couple of things you may not know about the stock. When it was priced for the IPO, it was priced around $34 a share on Wednesday before going public. So $34, that was the IPO price. But when the stock opened on Thursday, it opened at $47 a share, which represents a 38% increase on day one. That's right. So people who were able to get in on the IPO at $34 a share immediately made a 30% increase on their money on day one when the stock began trading. Now, here's an interesting fact. 8% of Reddit's IPO was reserved for its most loyal and active users and moderators, which had no lockup period. So if you're not familiar with what a lockup period is, it's typically when a company rewards its employees or special stakeholders with a certain amount of stock, but they can't sell the stock for maybe 6 months to a year. That's when the lockup period expires, and then they can do whatever they want with the stock. It's typically so that people don't just kind of run for the door and try to sell their stock and tank the stock and crash it. However, Reddit being kind of home of the Wall Street bets, I mean, they said, listen, we're not going to do that to our most loyal users and moderators. So that 8% of people that own the stock, they were able to sell on the first day. And we're going to take a look at the stock chart and see how did the stock trade on the first day. And you'll be surprised at what happened when they release options, which we'll talk about here in a second. Now, what I find interesting about Reddit as a company is that it had no operating profits since 2005 when it launched. The company being a publicly traded company, they had to release their books to talk about some of their financials to the rest of the world. And they reported $804 million in revenue, yet they lost 90.8 million. Now I want you to think about that. Imagine making $804 million and you still lost almost $100 million. So I think this company is going to be pretty interesting to see how they plan to get to profitability. Now, here's some things that they have cooked up that I believe could work in their favor. I was reading some articles and they said that Reddit could potentially be an AI play. And so I thought to myself, how is a social media meets community forum platform potentially an AI play? And then I started to understand that Reddit has millions of users who are searching for things, who are talking about things in plain everyday language. And that allows a AI company like Google, who they struck a deal with, to say, I want to parse this data. I want to see what people are talking about. I want to understand so that we can train our large language models to kind of understand what the human brain is thinking, what questions they are asking, and then the different answers that people are given to the question so that we can have a better AI system to respond and give people answers to their questions. So I never thought about Reddit as an AI play. And I thought, that's interesting that a company like Google is trying to get access to the end users. And I thought, yeah, I guess so. What better way to do that than to go around Facebook and partner with the next best thing if you don't want to use Facebook or if you feel like you are at beef or odds with Facebook because you're both going after the same data. So when I think about Reddit as potentially equivalent to a Facebook, or at least having the same type of information or as much data because people are asking questions, answering questions, I thought, this could be pretty interesting if they can find a path to profitability. Now, let's take a look at the platform real quick if you're not familiar with it, and then we'll take a look at the stock. So this is Reddit. This is the social media slash forum platform. They're probably most popular for Wall Street bets with respect to the stock market. You can see Wall Street bets. There's several different versions of them, but this one has 15 million members. That's a lot of people that are there for Wall Street bets. Now let's take a look at the stock and see what happened when Reddit started trading on the first day. So here you can see Reddit opened around that $47 a share and it immediately ran up. But by the end of the day, it was met with some selling. So you can definitely tell that whether it was the initial 8% of people who held some stock, or if it was just day traders or just Reddit users just trying to jump in, jump out and get a profit, you can definitely see that the stock ran up, but people were selling and kind of running from the door to get out of the stock by the end of the day. Now, here is Friday. The stock pretty much went down again from the time that it opened. It opened and just pretty much sold off. I mean, it had a short stint of where it went higher, but then the stock just sold off for the rest of the day. Now, on Monday, they released options on the stock. And I think that's where things got a little interesting on the stock because I want to walk you through the option chain so you can kind of see some of the activity of the calls and the put options. But then I'm also going to show you what happened with the stock. So let's take a look at the stock first. If you look at the stock just rocketed. I mean, this is where it opened pretty much almost at the bottom of the previous day's low. And then the stock just had a monster of a day. I believe it moved about 13 points. And even if you check after hours, it actually moved another $3 in the after hours on 3.8 million shares. So it moved 13.8 cents or 13.80 cents during the regular trading session, then another $3 after hours. I mean, the stock moved $16.80 on the day. You can see that's a 30% change during the day, then another 5% change during the after hours. So that's some pretty big movement. That's enough to make some people some money. But here's where things get interesting. If you look at the option chain, so Monday was the first day that options were released for Reddit, which options being released just is like pouring gasoline on this thing and welcoming all the people who want to speculate whether it can go up, whether it can go down. Also gives you the ability to make money from the stock fall. And so, I mean, it just brings in a whole heap of different types of traders. So the first option, this is the option chain. This is the expiration date. So when you buy an option is the right to buy the stock or control the stock for a certain amount of time. And then when that time expires, you either this option expires worthless or you have to buy the stock or force someone to buy your stock if you have a put. If you're not familiar with how call and options work, I have a PDF, a stock market starter pack and a stock option starter pack. Link in the description. Get you a copy because I really break down how stock options work. But back to the option chain over here. So you can see that Reddit, what I think is interesting, this is the call side. So you got calls on the left. And if you look, you can see some of the most active call options were out of the money. You can see here you had 8,503 75 strike price call options that were bought or sold or that exchanged hands. And so that's a lot of call options of people thinking or believing that the stock is going to go above $75 and they think is going to do that in the next 26 days. You can see the next largest amount of options that were purchased or exchanged hands were the 40 strike price here, which means they have the right to buy the stock at $40. So if the stock right now is at 59.80, they have the right to buy the stock at $40. So that's actually, they only paid about a $2 premium if they got it at $21. But as the stock is up another $3 after hours, they're actually finally making some money. Now, on the put side, what I thought was really interesting is that the $25 strike price put had 6,663 contracts traded. The question you got to ask yourself is, do you really believe the stock's going to get cut all the way down to $25? Or is this more of a gambling and a speculation play where people are saying, hey, look, I'm only paying 15 cents for this. If we get any type of a sell off, maybe I can get out of these options for 30 cents and make 100% return. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the thought process or the thinking is for the people down here who were interested in a $25 strike price option on the stock. Now, the next most actively traded options, at least in the April 19th timeframe, were the 50 strike price option. Now, this makes sense because the stock could fall $10 or give back all of this money. But by buying the 50 strike price at around $5.80, 5.90, let's just round up to six. That would mean you think the stock would be at least below $44 between now and the 26th of April. So that's some interesting option contract movements, some that are so far out of the money that I don't know how those people expect to be profitable. And then some that are more reasonable at the 50 strike price put that say, hey, I believe this stock is going to be at $45, $44 or less. And then I'll make some money, as well as on the call option side, way out at the 75, thinking that it's going to go higher. And then you had some more reasonable ones at the 40 strike price. So I think this is going to be an interesting one to watch. Let me know. Are you trading the stock? And also, I'm curious, was you one of the ones buying some of those deep out of the money options, trying to gamble, see if you could hit a home run? Let me know in the comments. I think once the dust settle, I might be open to trading Reddit, but I need a little bit more time to develop on the chart so I can look for that predictable, repeatable pattern, which is how we teach our students inside Power Trades University. But hey, you do you. Let me know in the comments. You trading it? You bought some call options or some put options? Let me know in the comments. Regardless if you bought some or you didn't, remember, you never go broke taking a profit. I'll see you on the next video.